Hello, everyone. I'm Kathleen, and I'm here with Larry Evans. And today we are here with Rod and Nancy Rich. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to hearing all your fun life history in the theater. So, both tell us, when did you get the acting bug?
You want to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
Well,
We're going to do a lot of this.
Actually,
Okay.
I think I had the dancing bug first because I was in ballet and tap and stuff when I was living in Asheville growing up. And of course, we had recitals. So I danced on stage early, like when I was 7 or 8. But my first on stage show was the one he was in when we were in high school.
Oh, wow.
I auditioned because I had a crush on a boy who was auditioning. You know how it goes, you're a teenager, right?
It wasn't me.
It wasn't him.
Was he cast?
We both were cast, yes.
The guy you had a crush on, was he cast?
He was not.
Fate. I love it.
Yeah.
He was going off to School of the Arts, and I think he couldn't do it. He found out he had a schedule conflict.
Oh, Ira David Wood?
Oh, God.
No.
No.
What was the show? What do you remember?
Yeah, it was Carnival.
Carnival
it was-
musical.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Asheville Community Theater had a summer stock for teens every year, and we did 2 musicals every summer. And the first musical that year was Carnival, and the second one was Once Upon a Mattress.
Right.
Oh, such fun.
Yeah,
It
a lot
was
of
fun. It
And
was fun.
And they bring in an actor, like a director from out of town and from New York. Of course, you know what that means. Nothing really, but
Yeah, but they were very nice.
yeah, they were nice. We had a lot of fun, and he had his driver's license and his mom's car. So
A yellow Monte Carlo.
beautiful.
Wow.
So he would take the girl he liked the best home last. So
There were 3. There were 3.
Yeah.
There were 3 young women, and I would take them home and drop them off in a select order.
I
And
know.
the next was the last one I dropped off.
last one, make out in the driveway. So by the end of the summer, it was me.
Yeah.
Oh, I
that's
love
good.
that. That is great. And Rod, when did you get the bug?
I got the bug. I don't know how old I was, but there was a Hallmark Hall of Fame. I don't know. There was a production of Peter Pan with Cyril Richard. Is that our phone?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
No, it'll die. We never answer it anyway.
Obviously.
It was Cyril Richard playing Captain Hook. And I think I was like 8 or 9, but I was like, I want that. I want to do that. So, but it was years before I actually got a chance to act because none of the schools I went to had a theater program at all.
Right. What was the first show you were actually in after high school? And
After high school,
right.
boy, good question.
Rice
I think
University,
it was at Rice University, and I think I played the lead in Roar the Grease Paint, Smell of the Crowd.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Nice. How about you, Nancy? What was the first show you were in after high school?
Well, the summer before I went to UNCA, the Asheville Community Theater's summer stock got together with UNCA, and the kids who were in the summer stock then performed at the stage on UNCA, and we got college credit. So I actually got college credit right before my freshman year for a show with AYT called Anything Goes. And then first show after that was Tartuffe.
Fun. Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. So did either of you have a mentor when you were starting out?
I kind of did. In high school, I had this guy who was an actor who's the senior English teacher named Franklin Butler. And he was a big man with a big stentorian, huge voice. And he had things that he would say. He had for example, when you turn, when you're on stage, pretend that you have a string attached from your belly button to the back wall. And if you turn up stage, you're going to rip your guts out.
Ah.
That's a good
So
idea.
I've always remembered that one. And then he'll always say, do not direct other actors. If I see you direct other actors, I've got a sniper in the rafters and he will shoot you. Bing, bing. You're dead.
I'm gonna use those things. I like that.
I like both of those. Yeah, totally.
Wow. How about you, Nancy?
Oh, I have to say, one of my mentors in college was Patsy Clark. She was assistant professor there, and I took voice and diction from her, and also a class on how to adapt literature for readers' theater. And so, yeah, she would also be in our shows, and she'd drop little hints. Always wear false eyelashes because it makes your profile look better, and things like that.
I'll write that one down.
How to breathe.
I had no idea your history went back so far with her. Oh my goodness.
We both knew her in high school.
We sure did.
Yeah, I was in a play with her at Asheville Community Theater when I was in high school.
Oh my.
Who came to Raleigh first, you guys or Patsy?
We did.
Tell the story.
Okay, we did, and I was auditioning for a show a bunch of years ago at Raleigh Ensemble Players. And there was a woman, it was a closed audition, so we had the cards in front of us, and one of the audition cards said Patsy Clark. And I looked down at the card, and I looked up and said, "Oh, I've had a friend in Asheville who had your name," and it was Patsy Clark. So that's how we got together in auditions. Sadly, I did not cast her.
You did not.
Because I am evil. But I've cast her ever since. So
there you go. Oh my gosh. So has anybody ever given you really great acting advice?
Gosh, I don't act that much. Nancy, how about you?
Really good acting advice. Boy, that's a good question. I would have to say that's probably my acting classes in college. Right. Who is the writer, the playwright who said, just shut up and say the lines?
That was
David Mamet?
Mamet. That's exactly who it is.
I always kind of took that to heart, to try not to act with too much artifice. Right. Yeah. Just shut it and say the lines.
Right. He actually, I know, like, he wrote that book. I don't know if it's called Black and White, but a lot of actors didn't like it because he was just stating that there's no motivation. Just do the lines. You don't need to understand it. Just do the lines,
I loved that book.
But the thing about acting with simplicity is real hard to do, especially when you're a musical theater girl like me, because in musical theaters, everything's big and very presentational, So it would calm me down, and make me behave a little bit to hear that.
I was listening to a podcast.
Do you think Mamet said that because he felt like his writing was so perfect that you didn't have to do anything?
I think what he was might have been reacting to was the tendency of a lot of actors. Well, yeah, I think it was because he's a writer, and I think what he saw was a lot of actors putting in meaning and things that he did not intend as an author, and I think it annoyed him. He directed a movie, and I can't think of the name of it, with his daughter as the lead, using this style of acting, and it got pretty good reviews, and no one can remember it because it sounded like a rock. But it was a mystery. It was okay.
Wow. I'm sorry, Larry, I interrupted you. What were you going to ask?
Oh, I was just going to throw something in there. I was listening to a podcast about Jessica Simpson, and she had a stutter problem after a major car accident when she was 5, and they told her, if you're having trouble stuttering, just sing.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
So when she wanted to get her words out without stuttering, she would just sing, and that's how.
That's cool.
That's very cool.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Do either of you guys have a favorite theater or movie actor?
Boy, I still like Cyril Richard.
Yeah.
He does like Cyril Richard.
Right.
Who else?
Boy, they vary a lot depending on
Patti LuPone's awfully fun to watch.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's really, really fun to watch.
I think I like big character actors. Right. I've always had a thing for character actors. Right. While the lead's in the front, I'll be looking in the back watching this guy go.
I know.
Yeah, as far as musical theater, I will sometimes go and watch Kevin Kline do Pirates of Penzance because that production was just so amazing.
Right.
And I've enjoyed him in films ever since. I think he's got a lot of versatility.
Oh, I think so too. I always think that when you try to explain to a young actor, like, who's a better actor, Jack Nicholson or Kevin Kline, you say, you can't compare the two actors. Kevin Kline can do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Nicholson is just like, who's fantastic, but, plays one good thing really great,
Well, and that kind of addresses the whole issue of comparing actors, you just, I mean, you know, at a certain level, I mean, obviously there are actors who are more successful than others at delivering a part, but when you get to a certain level, they're just different actors, and it's like comparing, it's like which is the best color in the crayon box.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
It's true.
Right.
You and I are video, you, Larry, and Ron
Right.
and I are all video people. So we know that with a film, you can make Arnold Schwarzenegger look good if you edit it
Right.
correctly.
Yeah.
You know,
I remember years ago, I was working with this beautiful reporter down at the TV station in Wilmington, and I was working for a video company, and we were looking for an actress to do a commercial about flea collars. So Palace auditioned, and he said, I cast the other girl because I could like the other girl better.
We have seen the same thing. We did when we were working at Trailblazer, we were in charge of helping casting for a Triangle Town Center commercial when it was first opening. And I always went for the character parts. I love the women who like put something extra into it, who are fun to watch, I felt were relatable. And I got completely overruled by a guy who cast the hot girls.
Yeah.
Because he liked them better.
Right.
So it's so personal, yes, to what people cast.
Yeah.
Huh. Do you have a worst audition story?
I enjoy auditioning. I kind of feel like it's probably the only chance I'll have to do the role. So there's no pressure. So
That's great.
I have a worst audition story.
I don't think I do either. Now, when I'm directing a show and someone auditions for me that I know is really great and they do a terrible time, it makes me feel so bad.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
it's like, I know you can do better. What's going on? You know?
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that it's funny because I didn't know Kathleen, and I must have just met you, Rod, but I think all three of us auditioned for Rumors back in 96, 97.
Yeah, yes, I remember that.
And Phil Crone too, I believe.
Yes, he did. That's correct.
Right. I don't know maybe I met you guys already because I knew who the two of you were.
I'm not sure I auditioned for Rumors. I think I auditioned for another one that Martin directed. God, what was the one character named Froggy? And it was kind of set in Arkansas.
The Foreigner?
That's it.
The Foreigner.
That's it.
Oh,
yeah.
Maybe I just heard you guys discussing the casting of Rumors. Maybe that was it.
Oh, it's because, let's face it, at RLT, that was the favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
You get together and you discuss the casting. It's like, it's any theater. You always get together.
Right.
The ones who don't get cast get together, go to Applebee's or Village Draft House or Gators or whatever restaurant that's currently in business, and you discuss the casting.
Right.
It's a dark art. It's hard work. Everybody's nervous.
Yeah, what is a favorite show you guys have done?
Favorite show.
Why?
The one I enjoyed was one we just finished, because it's my
that was a
first
good show. That was
directing
fun.
project for Theater in the Park,
Yeah.
and I cast my husband as the lead. I know
Right.
that's nepotism, but the funny thing is, I'm going, Ron, I need a guy in his 60s who's a good actor. You know, who should I call? Gosh, I just need somebody. I want to. And he's like looking at me like, are you have my chopped liver? You know, I was like, I'm going to call Tim Sherry, right?
Yeah.
See if he wants to audition for a play.
Yeah.
And I believe it was my favorite because, one, we never get to work together ever,
Yeah.
you know, and so to be able to collaborate with him on this role, the show was called The Old Man and the Old Moon.
Right.
The Old Man and the Old Moon, and he played the old man.
Yeah.
And then also my experience at Theater in the Park was so good. They were so supportive,
Oh, great.
really amazing.
Yeah,
I
they're
loved
good. It was a
working
good
with
place.
everyone.
It was very fun.
And the audio design was great. The set was great.
Right.
It was just a miracle of a performance. And our last show was right at the place where we were starting to hear about COVID.
Right.
And it was just so sad because I thought this may be the last thing that we
Yeah.
do for a while.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm a little bit nostalgic about that show in particular.
I wish I could have seen it. I was doing a show at the same time, and I love Scott and Kirsten. I just, I'm big fans of both of them as well. And stuff.
Yeah.
It was a very, very cool experience.
Right.
And you don't have to say it was your favorite.
Oh, I would. It was. It was. I mean, it's one of the only. Let's face it. It's the first show I've done in like 15 or 20 years. So yeah, it was.
Wow.
It was kind of fun. It was
Yeah.
very memorable. I had a really good time.
Yeah, it was very fun.
I really liked the director.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't perfect sailing. There were some things,
What she's trying to say is that I'm an opinionated butthole.
Yeah.
Can you
And
say
did
butthole on this?
you say I can't? Don't give me notes in front of the other actors, please.
No, I did not. I would say I would take the note rigorously and then I would just not do it. And I didn't mean not to do it. It was just sometimes I just forgot because old brain, right?
Yeah.
I've done it this other
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it would be like, well, I think it's better. But most of the time I just forgot.
Yeah. We did
But she was
okay.
very nice about it.
Yeah, we did okay.
We did fine. We're still married.
Yeah.
There you go.
I always joke because Kathleen's husband Mark has just been great working on our shows and stuff, and I say, I bet Mark gives you a whole bunch of notes on the way home from rehearsal every night.
He does. He would never open his mouth in a rehearsal, but when we get home, he's like, why don't you do this? And, and sometimes I go, whoa, that's great. And sometimes I say, well, because the big picture,
Right.
Right.
so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For both of you, is there a role you guys would love to have always wanted to play?
I'd like to redo a couple roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to play, well, it's too late now, but I'd love to play Reno Sweeney in Anything Goes
It's
Again.
true. She was Reno Sweeney.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. It would be fun to try again
Right.
because, the music's so great,
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Boy, what would I like to play? Might be fun to do. I just don't know. Maybe I can't think of the character's name, but the father character in
Describe.
The Rivals. The Rivals,
Uh,
the old father, the cranky one.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be fun to do.
That would be fun. So either as an actor or as directors, what do you think is the best type of actor to have on the stage? Like either as a co-actor or as somebody that you're like, oh, thank God this guy's there. Or,
Oh, boy, that's again, it kind of depends on the show. I mean, for different shows, you need different people, but I mean, you need, I guess the best thing I can say is I want people that will work well with others, and that won't run with scissors.
Yeah.
I just really don't enjoy working with a diva. I mean, we all do, but it's
Right.
just not fun and don't get paid enough to
Mm-mm.
make this process kind of painful. And I hate to have other actors coming up and going,
Right.
so
Yeah.
that would be about all I'd say. What about you?
Yeah, I agree. Because it's community theater and it's a hobby and we're all there to have fun.
Yeah.
You want the working environment to be just really great. You want the set to be fun. When you're on set, you want it to just be a fun experience. And so you want that mixture of people that really get along with each other.
Yeah.
And because I'm not a very good actor myself, I really think about actors as being these magical creatures that
Yeah.
really bring
Absolutely.
something to the party that I didn't even think of. And I just adore that
Yes.
smartness and that ability to show me things that like blow my mind,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I look for people like that and I seek them out and tend to cast them over and over again.
Sure. But I know when I'm casting a kid's show, I will say at the audition, being talented is great, but being kind is better,
Right.
because we're going to work together for 9 weeks. We got to like each other,
Right.
That's right. That's
Right.
exactly right. And I think that's a reason, that's also a reason why I think a lot of directors form without necessarily meaning to. They end up with like core groups of actors that they cast over and over and over again because they find a group of people that they're comfortable with,
Right.
that can work with each other. And holy cow, is that valuable and kind of rare to find.
Yes. Yes.
The chemistry is always there too in an ensemble group, I believe.
Yes, I agree, because people know each other. They know how to react to each other.
Right.
Mhm. Right.
We all have best moments on stage. Can you guys talk about some of your best moments?
Yeah.
Go ahead, because I can't think of anything.
Okay. Well, there are a couple of best moments. One best moment was in, several best moments were in Old Man and Old Moon, where I was able to, even in spite of the fact, there were several things that I was able to try that got big laughs that were unexpected. One thing that I find is challenging to do is comic anger, because if you really get angry on stage, it can shut the audience down. It can be horrifying. Right. Comic anger is a different flavor. And so I've never tried it. So I was able to try it in the show and and I don't know how successful I was, but the audience laughed. So that was fun. So that was one. And then the other one was when I played Coco in, there were several. When I played Septimus, I'll go through with Septimus in,
Funny thing happened.
Thank you.
No.
No, it was the other fairy tale, Once Upon a Mattress.
Oh yes.
King Septimus.
King Septimus.
That guy.
And I had a costume, but the helmet at the time, Vicki Olsen made a crown for me that was cloth for some reason. And when I'm on stage, I sweat profusely. I just sling water everywhere. And the crown got sopping wet. And at one point, somebody asked me, "What do you think?" And I had to shake my head like this. And the crown, which had gotten wet, just slipped all the way down my head. That was an accident, but it became a bit. So, but that was great fun.
Aw. What about you, Nancy?
Oh gosh. Well, Rod directed a play for Actors Comedy Lab several years ago called Farmdale Ladies Christmas Carol. It was like British ladies put together Christmas Carol badly by themselves. And he just let me do a little dance in the middle of the show for no reason. And I would say, "I'd like to do a little dance now." And then I just would do the dance every night. And then that was it. And then it
was wonderful. I cannot tell you how wonderful it was, because she never betrayed that it was anything funny at all. Her face was serious, but she would do just weird stuff, and it was different every night. It was great stuff.
Yeah,
it's a great dance.
Stream of consciousness dancing on stage for no reason.
I love that.
Yeah.
So Rod, the Once Upon a Mattress you were talking about, was that the same one that Brent Wilson,
yes, and Allison Lawrence were in? Yes.
And Mary Catherine Walston.
Mary Catherine was in that?
Yeah, because
was she a child? That was a long time ago.
Like 25 years ago or so.
Wow.
Way back, Michigan. I'm sorry, my math numbers don't go up that high for me. It was like 87. It was 87.
Wow. Oh, well, then there was another one in the 90s, maybe.
There was.
Yeah.
Yes,
oh,
yeah.
Okay. And well, you were talking about Vicki, and I'm not sure if she also did the costumes for this, but I went to that show opening night, and Brent and Mary Catherine had a duet together, and they were singing, and Mary Catherine had one of those
Mary Catherine was the minstrel in that. Yes.
The pointy
so
hat.
she had like one of those pointy hats on.
Lady Larkin. She was Lady Larkin.
Yes. And the hat kept falling off because it wasn't adhered correctly to her head. And as she's singing and Brent is right there, the hat keeps falling and falling. And finally, Brent, I love him, held the hat on her head while she could sing, so she didn't have to worry about it. And I thought, that is the most thoughtful actor ever.
He's very sweet to work with. He was also in that one that I was in 87. And he's very nice to work with.
That's great. Now, what is the funniest thing that ever went wrong on the stage? Now, whether you're an actor or director in this, what?
Well, we want to talk about the Tartuffe in the Mint Museum.
I don't know how funny that was. I mean, it was just basically, it was the classic late entrance, and the guy didn't come on, and we were all, and look, oh, surprise, here comes.
One of those. But we tried to rhyme our couplets.
So we had to do that. We had to improvise and rhyme in couplets.
That was funny.
So that was
it didn't really work. I don't know.
I can't say hilarious.
Well, the funniest one is you stage managed for, and I didn't have much to do except I had the dog. I trained the dog.
dog, right.
Yeah, it was
Barrett's of Wimple
Barrett's
Street.
of Wimple Street, and it was Becky Johnson.
Yeah.
And that was the funnielest thing I ever
And
heard.
Bunny was in it. The deal
Bunny,
was,
yeah.
is okay, they couldn't find the dog for it. What we had was it's supposed to be a spaniel, right? Because it's Elizabeth Barrett Browning spaniel. And they used our dog as the stand-in dog. No big deal. Well, come the day, and the person with the spaniel said, no, I've decided to change my mind, you can't. So they had to use our dog. Well, the guy they cast as Elizabeth Barrett Browning's father was this big guy who would constantly, who was very authoritarian, and he'd yell, no, you cannot do this. And every time he'd yell no, our dog would visibly jerk and shrink back into his thing. And people were watching the dog until finally this actor said, that dog goes. Either she goes or I go. So we got into a diva dispute because of our dog.
Oh, that's hysterical.
And then the review came out, and it might have been Robert.
It was
Robert McDowell. And there was this typo, and it said that there was a remarkably small dog in the show. And I think what they meant to say was remarkable, small dog in the show. So we decided it was like this big,
I know.
remarkably small dog in the play.
You guys are both directors, but if you couldn't be an actor or a director, what else would you want to do in the theater community?
I would love if I could go back in time and maybe do set design, because it's 3D CAD now, and it'd be really interesting to have the new tools. But what do you think?
Audio design. I love audio.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
If you guys could go back in time and talk to the younger version of yourself when you first started acting, what advice would you give yourself?
Don't act anymore. Start choreographing earlier. I am not much of an actor. I know it about myself. I have a tiny face. I don't know. I think people with bigger faces do better.
Oh.
I don't like the sound of my voice. Yeah, I would totally do more. Because to me, choreography borders on staging, and I love to stage. I love to block so much, and I think I'd be better at it. I'm a late bloomer when it comes to directing. I'd love to have, another couple of decades in my past, because I started kind of late with that stuff. What about you?
Oh man, I don't exactly know what to say. In terms of acting, I might say, okay, this is weird. Go to New York and find out how good you're not. Get it out of your system and then come home.
Right.
Because I'm not that good either. And but it took me years to discover it.
I think you and I both got shy about acting as we got older, because you have to have a certain amount of confidence to be on stage. And if you're young and you're just happy to be on the stage and super confident and not self-conscious.
Yeah.
And then as you older you get more self-editorial about your work.
Well, I think also as a director, you start working, especially in the Triangle, where we've got holy cow, we have creative people here. I found that I was working with people who were 10 times more creative than I was. And I realized there is no way on earth I could do what he's doing or she's doing. That is just, they're doing a phenomenal job.
There are amateur actors in the Triangle who could, had they chosen, have been professionals quite easily.
Yeah,
and they just wanted to raise their kids or have a life here and not have to, live in New York or Los Angeles or whatever. There are some people here who are just amazingly good. I think you guys would agree.
Yeah, I was telling somebody at work, I do distance education at NC State, and we're extremely busy now because of the crisis is going on. And I said, thank God I didn't decide to become a professional actor. I knew to stay in education, because one day I would be 10 times busier doing my job. So
yeah.
And I have insurance.
Right.
Nancy, did you choreograph that side by side by Sondheim that was out in the amphitheater that Brent directed?
I did, and I think I worked with you on that.
Yes, and I wanted to say, because I'm not a dancer, but you always made me feel that I knew what I was doing. And I think that's such a great, just a great trait for a choreographer, because, you know, everybody's afraid to do things that they're unfamiliar with.
Right.
And you took it so step by step that it was easy to learn. And I didn't have a lot to do, but I felt very confident. And I know it was because of the way you taught it, because as I said, I'm not a dancer, but so I thank you for that.
Oh, well, thank you, Kathleen. I like to think that I'm good with teaching people who don't dance how to do a dance that they feel good about and have enough confidence about, that by the time the show opens, that they know the dancing and they're not worried about it, and so they can go ahead and layer the character and the acting on top of it.
Right. Yeah. Well, you did. You did.
Awesome. That was fun. We had a good time.
That's like 10 years ago, 12 years ago. I think it was outside, because I remember, I think I got rained out the night I was coming.
Very possible. There's something about that amphitheater. As soon as you go out there, it rains.
Right.
I know. We always say at the theater, if we have a drought, just put on a show outside.
I actually did a few phone calls when we were doing, what's the Jason Robert Brown show out there, Songs for a New World.
Right.
Said, I want to call around. I really did, just for fun, to see if I could find someone. You know how you can get a shaman or a rain dancer to come in and bring rain? I wanted to see if there's anybody I could call up and just have them come over and like burn some of that stuff and run around the stage with it. And it was mostly just for fun, because I thought my cast would get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
But couldn't find anybody to commit. Nobody would commit to give me an anti-rain dance for that play. And sure enough, the last show we didn't get to do, and we ended up all at that little piano bar downtown, whose name I can't think of. Just singing around the piano. Nice. At that bar, because we just sang the show, because had to have a last performance.
Sure.
What's the first thing you guys want to do when we get out of this crisis and we go back to normal, if there is a normal?
Boy,
we've kind of adapted really well to this.
Sadly, yeah, we have. I have a lot of little personal projects, but not so much directorial. When the thing started, I was working on 2 shows. We had to stop doing. I was doing the choreography for Of Thee I Sing for Justice with Lyman Collins directing, and we had our callbacks, and then that show just got completely canceled. And then I've got Shrek, which we are trying to open in September, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to say. I'm just trying to be chill about whether it happens or not.
Right.
So, you know, I'd like, if it does get canceled, I'd like to revisit it, but that would be, you know, whenever they say. But I don't really have too much in mind. I mostly want to like do some housey things. I want to get my inside of my house painted, but I don't want any painters to come inside yet.
Yeah.
I adapted one of my short stories that was a 10-minute play. I made a Zoom session out of it. I just changed some lines and made it had to be a Zoom session. And I'm writing a sequel now. And I said, well, it's low budget. It's not going to cost me anything. And it's just a good exercise, because I'm not really ready to put plays on Zoom. But there is something about seeing a close-up of someone's face during the whole time, right?
There's it's been interesting watching, said nothing to a theater. Well, I guess it does in a way. It's been interesting watching talk shows and shows adapt to YouTube type of a format like this, and how they play it. And I think it would be interesting to figure out if there's some way to do sort of theater on Zoom, televised theater, but you know, it's not quite the same, because you don't have that immediacy.
You're right, Larry. It's just not the same.
Really do it.
Love letters, maybe, but you know.
Yeah. Sean Malone has that little group called the Rejects, and they get together and they read scripts, and so that's kind of cool and fun.
Yes.
To watch. I really love National Theater releasing some of these Shakespeare's that they're doing. Coriolanus is on right now, and it's pretty fantastic. So free theater like that, I tend to watch more than the Zoom stuff that local people are doing. But at the same time, I think it's a great idea, and I try to be real supportive of it, because you know, it keeps us active and keeps keeps us from getting rusty.
you still, I find that like, oh wow, Gillian Anderson is Streetcar Named Desire, and then it's like you can't make a commitment because it's going to be on for 4 days. It's so easy to kind of miss it, or you get more restless at home. When you go to the theater, you're there for the event, and I'm finding it difficult to make the adaptation by watching something on television. Right.
Yeah, it's not the same as live theater. It is just not. And I feel that way about visual arts as well. I mean, the Museum of Art's putting together some really nice videos about the art they have in there, but it's not the same as going out there and actually seeing the work. And yeah, I'm having trouble making that leap as well.
Yeah.
Well, when it first started in March and we couldn't use the theater, we offered these free hour-long workshops to a variety of kids, just because we wanted to practice to see what is this all about, you know. And it was, to me, the funniest thing to see all the little Zoom rectangles on your screen. And I'm like you have to be very active because you don't want them to lose interest. So there was no break, everything from one game to the next. And I'd have kids like dogs just enter the screen and be in the middle, or they just leave, like they'd go talk to their mother and they'd be gone, you know. So it was very funny. But RLT has been teaching camps, you know, not camps yet, but classes online, and it's not the same, but I think kids are just having a good time.
Oh, that's a large part of it.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I know some of the vocal teachers, the voice teachers are adapting pretty well. Catherine Anderson, for example, she's having her, you know, her kids sing online. You can't go and say, you know, use your diaphragm. You can't do that.
Right.
But,
Right.
You scream at your kid because he's playing video games. No, Mom, I'm acting at RLT.
Exactly. I know. Well, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a blast. It's been great.
Well, you guys have been your questions have been good. We've enjoyed it.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, I'm so glad. And we look forward to seeing you in real person.
Yeah. But it's good to see your little faces and hear your little voices.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
Same. Thank you again.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.